So the intention is really, let's be engaging. Let's learn what we can learn from the session. And it's maybe something, if you're a coach, you're going to find something here to implement. Maybe you're someone that has run into trauma in your own life, and then maybe there's something here for you. We have a multitude of different people on this call tonight, and I really appreciate and welcome each and every one of you. I'm Stain Rousseau, I'm your host, and I'm going to do my utmost best to share as much as possible with each and every one of you. And I have to say, I'm really happy and really glad that you are here and that you've given up your valuable time to spend an hour, just over an hour with me. And we're going to be talking about something that every experienced coach has encountered, that moment, when you know what you're doing and you get that moment when your best techniques just stop working. You're looking at a slide in front of you on a share, and I'm sure that I've shared my screen. You're looking at a slide that says, when traditional coaching stops working, the nervous system gap that's costing you clients. This isn't about scaling your business. I'm not going to dive into how to scale your business, although in trauma coaching, there's a tremendous opportunity for scaling. This is not that kind of session where we focus on how to make your business better and how to make it bigger and how you can make a tremendous amount of more money. And although all of those things are true and possible and available, this session is not about that. It's not about scaling your business or marketing tactics. This is about becoming a more effective practitioner. Or if you're not a practitioner, you're not a coach, you're a person that have run into trauma yourself. This is about a better understanding of what trauma looks like and what can be done with it, and why traditional ways don't really work when we talk about trauma. So in the next 60 minutes or so, you're going to discover what I believe is a missing piece that'll transform you from a generalist coach into an elite trauma-informed specialist. And this is a question someone asked me many years ago when I got into coaching, and one of my mentors and coaches said, do you want to be a general practitioner or do you want to be a specialist? Now, from a business perspective, I think I pick specialists any day of the week from here to Sunday, because specialists do get paid more than generalists at the end of the day. But it's also being able to help people that really need help. And I think, as coaches, that is our journey. We are here to help people. Now, I'm sure that you've noticed the patterns, and I'm 100% certain that you're on this call tonight, and either from someone who suffered from trauma or someone that wants to help people with trauma, that you have skills, you are trained. But some clients just don't respond to the techniques we're using. They intellectually understand what you're teaching them, and they agree with your insights. But behind that, there's just no change. And this isn't about your competence. It's not about how good a coach you are or how good a coach you're not. This isn't about the gap in your training that nobody told you about. A gap in understanding how the nervous system works when a client dysregulates. You've been trained to work with the mind, but you've been trained to work with biology underneath them. You haven't been trained to work with the biology underneath the mind. And that's what we're here to address today. If we want to work with trauma, it's more of a biology problem than what it is a mental problem. It sits different in a person's body, and we really want to dive into that. And I want to show you the three frustrating scenarios every coach faces. First, you have the client who gets it, but they simply cannot implement. They understand exactly what you're telling them, but there's no implementation. So they have knowledge without action, and we all know that that's not going to go anywhere. They have an understanding of the strategy, but they cannot execute. The second frustration we run into is the breakthrough that doesn't stick. We have a great session, there's a breakthrough, but it simply don't stick. And we come back again and again and again and again, and it simply doesn't stick. You have a powerful session, they leave feeling amazing, but 2 weeks later, they're back where they started, and nothing stuck. We call this a transient progress. And the third frustration, I believe, we pick up as coaches is the resistance no reframe can touch. Because one of the techniques as coaches we often use is a reframe. So what if there's a resistance that no reframe can touch? A deep-seated protection mechanism. And we literally talk about a deep-seated protection mechanism that no amount of cognitive reframing will shift. And here's the truth. None of these frustrations are coaching failures. They're nervous system states. And once you understand that, everything changes. It's not a coaching issue. It's not a coaching failure. It's not a lack of skill. It's a nervous system state. So here's a promise for tonight. In the next 60 minutes, you'll discover 3 things. First, why your best techniques fall short with certain clients. Second, I'm going to share, my thing I call a choice point reset. It's really powerful in how to reset a dysregulated nervous system. And I'm going to really share, not only tell you about the choice point reset, which is my proprietary piece of work. I'm going to have you do it with me. I want you to experience it in your own body for yourself. So we're going to look at how we can take 4 minutes and use a regulation protocol that you can use immediately. I want you to really walk away tonight, and whether you're a coach or whether you're not a coach, someone that's really, struggling with trauma, I want you to walk away at the end of the session with a protocol that you can use immediately. And then the third thing I want to share with you is how trauma informed certification transforms your practice and your income. I want to show you what the opportunity looks like. Now, this isn't just theory, it's practical, it's embodiment of knowledge. It is to put you in a place where you're able to apply the moment you leave the webinar. I want you to be in that kind of position, that you have a good understanding of what this thing trauma is about, and that you can take something from this webinar and you can immediately implement it. I have a basic belief, and that literally says you can read every and any book in the world. And there are some great, great books out there. But unless you take something from it and you implement it, you make it part of your life, of what you do, there's no real value. Someone said to me a long, long time ago, knowledge is power. I come to learn that it wasn't really an accurate statement. Knowledge isn't power. It's applied knowledge that's power. It's when we learn something new and we go out in the world and we go practice it, we put it in play in our own lives, in our client's life, in the next person's life, we actually go and execute it, we do it. 2 things happen. We better ourselves when we apply it. And the second thing is the sort of making sure that what I'm hearing is really so. I validate it and I get to see the techniques work for real. And that sort of take the guesswork out of it. Okay, so I'm really going to focus on you becoming the coach who can work with the clients others can't reach. Trauma coaching, trauma-informed coaching is not for everyone. Not everyone want to touch the subject because it's the hard work. It's like grief coaching, it's hard work. Not everyone wants to touch it. Trauma coaching is the same line of things. It's not everyone that wants to touch it. And I really wish for you in my heart that you'd become the coach who can work with clients that others cannot reach. They cannot work with them. They don't have the skill to work with them. So the guys that's popping in as we talk, I'm going to just say welcome. I acknowledge you. I can't currently see on my screen, but I do hear the ping pong on my computer when you come in. Welcome. And I'm happy for you to be here. So this entire webinar is designed to reset one belief. And I literally call this the big domino. And here it is. Mastering the nervous system regulation is the missing skill between where you are now and becoming an elite specialist and in a thriving practice. One of the most powerful things we can ever learn is how to master and regulate the nervous system. It's called autonomous for a reason. It does its own thing. It kicks in at its own pace. And if we learn how to regulate that, we can take a person that have, as a result of trauma, going to dysregulation, we can help them regulate. And once they regulate it, all the other skills that you know, your NLP techniques, your life coaching skills, your whatever other skills you possess or whatever tools you have in your toolkit, all of those will work. If we deal with a dysregulated nervous system, none of those tools work. We're trying to solve, and it's just like this afternoon, I had this call of someone sharing with me that a family member, committed suicide, or someone they know's family member committed suicide, and it's a long history in this family. And the son committed suicide like years ago, and now the father has done the same thing. And this person's question to me was saying, for a person that have gone through this, how can they think to do the same thing? And here was my answer. You're trying to solve a non-logical issue, because in the time of dysregulation, logic does not apply. You're trying to solve a non-logical issue with logical reasoning. And there's really no possibility of that. Okay? So this is not really about adding more tools to your toolkit, more techniques to your toolkit. It's really about understanding the foundation and the foundational science that makes all your other skills actually work. When our nervous system is dysregulated, none of our normal tools work. When we learn how to regulate the nervous system, all those tools will work really well. So when you master regulation, everything else falls into place. Your client will get better results. So whether you are helping a client with trauma-specific, grief-specific, anxiety-specific, perhaps, depression-specific, perhaps, any one of those things involves a dysregulated nervous system. So if we learn how to regulate the nervous system and how to regulate our own nervous system and state as coaches, not only will our confidence soar, but you will practice better and you'll naturally grow. It all starts with this one skill. And it's really the skill that I want to share with you tonight, is how to fill the gap. Now, if I'm talking about how to fill the gap, what is the gap? And the gap is really the biological reality that traditional coaching training misses entirely. And I had the privilege to, through the years, go through a tremendous amount of trainings, and this gap persistently exists. It misses it entirely. It misses when your client is dysregulated in his nervous system. And when the nervous system is in a fight, a flight, or a freeze mode, and the prefrontal cortex literally goes offline. Because when we're in that hyperarousal or hypoarousal, the prefrontal cortex goes offline. When the prefrontal cortex go offline, logic does no longer exist. Now we want to apply a logical technique to that person. And there's literally no possibility of that. So that part of the brain that's responsible for rational thought, for decision making, for behavior change, that part has gone offline. It's like you're looking at your computer and your internet has gone down and that little circle pops up. It's buffering, but nothing else is happening. There's nothing there. The lights are on, but no one is home. So all the cognitive tools we use and that we've been trained to use require the prefrontal cortex to be online. It requires the internet to work. It requires the lights on and people home. So what if your client is in a trauma response and those tools don't work? Not because you're doing it wrong. And I want to reiterate that. It's not because you're doing it wrong. It's simply because biology won't allow it. And it's the biology that's the gap that nobody talks about. It's a physical thing in the body. Trauma sits in our bodies. So here's the question that changes everything. Can this client access choice right now? So with a dysregulated system, there's no choice. What they lose, what they give up when they get in contact with trauma, they suffer from trauma, they lose choice in essence. So as a coach, my first question would be, can this client access choice right now? Do they understand the problem? It's not a question of are they motivated. It's not whether they understand it or not. Remember, the prefrontal cortex have gone offline. Logic doesn't apply. That's the science. That's the biology. They can't access choice. It's their nervous system is regulated enough, they can actually exercise choice and they can choose differently. But if the nervous system isn't regulated, there's just no choice available. So this question will transform how you assess your client. It will transform how you structure your session, and it will transform your results. Because once you can answer this question, you know exactly what to do next. So if you're a coach and you have qualified as a life coach or executive coach or a business coach or whatever type of coach you are, you know that once their nervous system is regulated and they're in a calm state, the mind is open, they can exercise choice, and we can do all the techniques and all the skills we have to help that client find a recovery for what it is they're struggling with. So let me just share about my own journey with you. And, there was a time in my career where I looked at coaching and I go, I have all the certifications. I'm a certified neuro-linguistic practitioner. I'm a master NLP specialist. I'm a master coach. I have all of these certifications. I know a tremendous amount of techniques, and I have a huge passion for people. It's literally my purpose on the planet is to change the life of one person a day. And I've lived that purpose for many, many years. But in that process, I kept on hitting a wall on a regular basis with certain clients that I would deliver what I thought was a brilliant coaching session, and they would nod and they would agree, and then nothing, no change, no results. And I really started questioning myself. I started questioning my own skill level. I started questioning my intentions. I even asked whether, am I good enough for this? Do I still have to learn? Is the learning curve that steep and that long? I ask, what am I missing? And should I try harder? Is it me not trying hard enough? Do I need to get more training? And I've invested heavily in more training and more training and more training, and having my own coaches to work with me. But lo and behold, even after doing all of that, the pattern continued. And it was hugely frustrating, and at some point, really isolating. And until I discovered something that really changed everything. And this is really the one thing that changed everything for me. And this discovery was this. I wasn't dealing with a coaching problem. I realized I wasn't dealing with a coaching problem. I was dealing with a biology problem. And we can't try and use normal coaching techniques to deal with a biology problem. I started studying neuroscience of trauma, polyvagal theory, nervous system regulation, the biology behind a dysregulated system, behind how trauma manifests in a person. And I realized that clients who weren't responding weren't resistant. It's not as if they didn't want to change. They didn't want to get to a better place. They were simply dysregulated, and I didn't recognize it. Their nervous system was stuck in protection mode. We have this built-in thing that has an overstated sense of wanting to protect us. It's our survival mechanism. And I realized that no amount of cognitive coaching was going to shift that. I needed a different approach. I needed to learn how to work with the nervous system first. And before I can do the mind work, my forte, my speciality field is really mind work, and I've done some exquisite work on mind work over many, many years. And this is right an eye-opener for me when I realized that, all the things that I know is working, that I've got results for, and I've got a proven track record, all of a sudden, certain clients are just not working, and they're not getting over that hurdle, and they're not finding that better place. And it's really terrible when it's like that, and we start doubting ourselves. Until I made the discovery to say, we're dealing with something different here. We're dealing with a biological problem. We're not dealing with something else. And that's really when I developed the thing called the choice point reset. This is a protocol that I've developed, and it's a simple 4-minute technique that helps clients shift from dysregulated back into regulation. And it literally works with the vagus nerve to signal safety to the nervous system. It's the same vagus nerve that caused the nervous system to go offline. And if we can get the vagal, a higher vagal tone, we can get the vagus nerve to signal safety to the nervous system. It's autonomous. It will automatically come down from a hypervigilance. And the results were absolutely immediate. Clients who had been stuck for months started making progress. I remember one lady sitting in my rooms, and I did the choice point reset at the start of a session. And when I was done, I said, so how do you feel in this moment? And she goes, is that what normal people feel like every day? I go, what do you mean? She says, I have a certain amount of calm over me that I cannot explain. And to me, that was a telltale sign that the nervous system has come down. It's switched. We've moved from the sympathetic nervous system to the parasympathetic nervous system. We're in relax and digest mode. The mind is now open. We can proceed with a profound coaching session. Breakthroughs that used to fade started sticking. And finally, it felt like I had the tool that I've been missing all along. So this protocol became the foundation of everything I do as a trauma-informed coach. When I deal with someone with trauma, the first thing I do every time, every session, apart from the fact that I reset my own nervous system to make sure that my own state is at the absolute optimal performance place, I do a choice point reset with my client. I help them switch their nervous system. I help them get into regulation. And it allows me to, after that, really provide them with a profound coaching session. Okay? Really helped me. So here's what happened to my practice. It transformed, not because I learned sales tactics. It's not because I started, it transformed because I started getting results with clients others couldn't help. That resulted in my reputation growing. It resulted in referrals increasing. It resulted in how I was able to charge premium rates for the service I provide. Because the service I provide is really a specialist service. And I was providing premier outcomes. Now, when you start providing as a coach premium outcomes, it's sort of, my good friend Tom Ziglar, son of the great Zig Ziglar, is also my mentor and one of my coaches, often tells me, Stan, if we do the right things, we get rewarded with certificates of appreciation. And we sometimes call that dollars and rands and cents and pounds when we do the right thing. So this is what happens when you master the craft. And mastery, in my belief, is a lifelong journey of which the end is never quite reached. But when you start mastering your craft, there's a natural occurrence that your business grows. It's a natural byproduct of your clinical excellence. So when you become a coach, people seek out when nothing else has worked. When someone sits with me and we get to the better side of things and they go, I've been going for 2 years to these sessions and I didn't get help. I had someone tell me last week, Stan, you've done more for me in 3 sessions than what I have had in 10 days in the psych ward in hospital. It's really when you start mastering the craft, when you start delivering results that no one else gets. And when your client experiences that from you, that allows you this natural byproduct of your business growing. And that's the main reason why I don't, on this webinar, focus on how profound trauma coaching is in business. There's a natural byproduct when you do it right that your business will grow if you're a coach. There's a natural product that happens to you if you're not a coach. You're here tonight because you have suffered from trauma and you can start regulating your own nervous system. It'll help you to overcome trauma and make your life better. So let's talk about the 3 secrets I want to share with you. And secret 1 is really about the vehicle. And the vehicle is this: trauma is not a mindset problem. It's a nervous system that goes into overprotection mode. And this literally reframes everything. Because once you see trauma as a biology and not a psychology, you stop trying to think your way through it, but you start working with the body. You start working with regulation. And that's when real lasting change becomes possible. This is the vehicle that will carry your client to transformation. It's really that switch and reframe of I'm not working with the psychology, I'm working with the biology when I deal with trauma. So that's secret number one. Secret number two is literally, let me say this, and simply because it's important, I want to reiterate this. Trauma is not a mindset problem. You are trying to fix a non-logical issue with logical measures. It's not because you have a bad nervous system. The nervous system is just like overperforming. It's doing its job extra well. And its main job is to protect you. That's why we have a fight and flight or freeze index or mode that we go in. It's in order to protect us, a survival mechanism. What we are in essence doing is a fundamental upgrade to your diagnostic ability as a coach, to see it, to recognize what it looks like, so that we can shift from a limited mindset model to a more accurate biology model. The reframe literally allows you to identify and address the true root cause of your client's challenge. So when in conversation, you do your discovery call and you can see this is a dysregulated nervous system and you can jump in, you can regulate that, it puts you in a better place. And it really separates you from a generalist, of which there are many in the marketplace. The marketplace sometimes is flooded with generalists, and becoming a specialist coach. One who can solve problems at a very, very deep level. So this new lens, if I can call it a lens, empowers you to create deeper and more lasting client results. Okay, so that's literally the first secret. Let's talk about two states your client is in. There are two options here. State one we call hyperarousal, and stage two we call hypoarousal. So hyper, I want you to see we're going up. It's fight or flight response. Anxiety, panic, hypervigilance, all sits in the hyperarousal side. The nervous system is in an up. It's a fight or flight index. When the brain realizes there's no possibility to outrun the problem or to outfight the problem, it switches into hypoarousal, which literally is our freeze response. Now, in a freeze response, what happens in the brain is it shuts down. There's disassociation. There's numbness. Now, both these states, whether the client is in a hyperarousal or in a hypoarousal, both of those states make normal coaching nearly impossible. And it's nearly impossible simply because the prefrontal cortex have gone offline. So your job as a trauma-informed coach is to recognize which state your client is in at and guide them back to regulation before you start doing the other work, before you start coaching them. And this is really the foundation, and this foundation is not something that you can really go without. This is the foundation for effective trauma-informed coaching. In every single piece of work out there, we often get this thing, know when to refer, know when to get help when you deal with trauma. The gap is really about recognizing in which state of dysregulation the client's in, help them to be regulated, and then all the other tools will work. We skip that process, none of the other tools will work, hence why it's suggested by many authorities that you would refer people if the problem is too heavy, if it's a too complex a trauma like PTSD and similar things. Okay, it's all dysregulated problems. And here's where the protocol really becomes essential. You need a clear, repeatable process for helping clients regulate. It has to be easy and simple to do and effective. And there's really three in the training I'm going to do and offer you at the end of this program. We'll literally focus on 3 core protocols. The first protocol is my own protocol called the Choice Point Reset. I'm going to share that with you tonight. I'm going to have you do a Choice Point Reset with me so you can experience your own body. In the training, we'll talk about pendulation and parts work, which is 2 other protocols of a couple more that we can use to help people get regulated. And these aren't really rigid scripts, guys. These are frameworks that gives you the confidence and give your client safety. It gives them choice in the moment. They know you know what you're doing. They literally sense it, they feel it. And you know you can handle whatever shows up in your session. We've removed that fear of what happens if they show up differently. What happens if they go into a shutdown? When we are equipped, we don't worry about what happens in the session because we are not amateurs. We are professionals. We know how to handle whatever pops up. And that's really what separates the amateur coach from the professional coach, is the ability to see things for what they really are and to use the right technique to help the client. Okay, so how does Choice Point Reset actually work? It's based literally on the functioning of the vagus nerve. So when I created Choice Point Reset, I really made a study of what's causing the nervous system to go in overdrive and to shut down, and how do we switch from sympathetic to parasympathetic. And the vagus nerve is literally the main nerve of the parasympathetic nervous system. So when we stimulate the vagus nerve through specific techniques, breath work, bilateral stimulation, maybe somatic awareness, we signal to the brain that it's safe. And the nervous system shifts out of protection mode back into connection mode. So the prefrontal cortex literally comes back online. It no longer has to, and I'm going to explain it to you like this. When you go into fight or flight, literally the blood comes off your brain. It feeds your major extremities, your legs, your arms, because there are two versions there. Run very fast or fight very hard. In that state, I can't think clearly. There's no physical possibility of clear thought. There's no logic that apply. I'm literally in survival mode. My software is not updated, that there are no saber-toothed tigers that want to eat me. I'm not on the lunch menu. We're top of the food chain as human beings in modern day. My brain doesn't know this. It's going to overdrive to protect me. That's why the prefrontal cortex go offline. That's why I can't think clearly. That's why when you speak to people after suffering trauma, they most of the time can't really clearly remember everything that happened in that moment. It's because that frontal cortex was offline. Now, when we bring it back online and the client can access choice again, the psychology tools work. NLP, all the other systems that we use to help clients to overcome their challenges, all of those tools all of a sudden work. It has to take and reset that nervous system. So I want to invite you on a journey with me tonight. I want you, wherever you are in the world, and thank you for joining. I want you to just for a moment there, sit where you are. If you have a pen in your hand because you're making copious notes or you've got a book in front of you, just put everything down. And I want you to just, where you sit, be wherever you are, be there, and take a nice deep breath in for me. Nothing too strenuous. Just take a nice deep breath in. Breathe with me in through the nose, into the belly. And we can breathe in for 4 counts, 2, 3, 4, and just release that breath through the mouth. And we're going to breathe out for 6 counts. And you can keep your eyes open. You can close your eyes, whichever works for you. But just take that breath out. And as you breathe it out, let's just take a nice, comfortable, deep breath in. And as you let that breath go through your mouth, as you let it go, I want you to just look around in the room where you're at. Just turn your head slowly and look around. And let's find 3 stable things in your environment that you can see. Find 3 stable things you can see. And when you find it, just name it to your mind. So the first stable thing perhaps is a desk. And you go, there's a stable thing, it's a desk. Just name it to your mind. And once you found that first stable thing, let's jump and look around. And let's find a second stable thing. And when we find it, let's just name it to the mind. And once you've named it to the mind, let's find a third stable thing. Just look around, find that stable thing, and just name it to the mind. And once you've named that third thing to the mind, I want you to shift your focus consciously to your feet. And just notice your feet on the ground. And I then want you to intentionally and consciously just push your feet hard onto the ground as if you want to leave a footprint there. And when you push down, just hold it there for 2 or 3 seconds and then release. And just keep the focus on your feet. Feel your feet on the ground. You're grounded. And just for a second time, let's just push the feet into the ground as if you want to leave a footprint when you leave tonight. You want to leave your footprint there. And just keep that pressure for a couple of seconds, and then you can release. And as you release, we're going to downshift the nervous system slightly by doing a bit of breath work. I'm going to count you into this. I want you to breathe in through your nose to the count of 4, into the belly, not into the chest. And when you exhale to the count of 6, it's like blowing out a candle. It's going to go in through the nose for 4 counts, out through the mouth for 6 counts. So let's take a nice deep breath in through the nose, 2, 3, 4, out through the mouth, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's take another deep breath in, 2, 3, 4, out through the mouth, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One last deep breath into the nose, 2, 3, 4, and out through the mouth, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And just take a nice deep breath in and a gentle breath out. And I want you to look into the present, be in this moment, right here, right now, on this call tonight. And I want you to find 5 things in your environment you can see. Just find 5 things you can see. And as you find the 5 things you can see, there can be anything, you can just name those 5 things to the mind. Let's proceed to find 4 things you can feel. Perhaps your feet on the ground, the chair beneath you, maybe your hands, the air on your skin, whatever that feels like. Let's focus and find 4 things you can feel right now in this moment. Let's proceed now to find 3 things you can hear. Wherever you are in this moment, being present, let's just find 3 things you can hear. And as you find it, just name it in your mind. Let's see if we can find 2 things you can smell. If there's nothing you can smell in your environment right now, let's simply find 2 things we can notice. Just find 2 things you can either smell or you can notice wherever you are right now. And let's then find 1 thing you appreciate right now in this moment. Let's find 1 thing you appreciate. And let's acknowledge in this moment that this moment is real. You are here, it's present. I'm going to help you install what I call 3 glimmers. Glimmers are micro signals of safety. Here's the thing, your brain already is trained on how to find threat and recognize threat. Let's train it how to find safety and purpose. And the 3 glimmers I'm going to help you, the micro signals we're going to help you install, it's called the 3 S's. 1 is for still. I want you to find something that's not moving in your environment, something that's still, straight line, a solid object, corner of the room perhaps. And when you find it, let your eyes just rest there for a second or 2. And as your eyes rest on that still object, just take a nice deep breath in and out as you keep your focus on the still for a second or two. The second glimmer is called support. I want you to notice what is supporting you right now. Perhaps the floor under your feet, perhaps the chair you're sitting on, perhaps it's the back of the chair supporting your back. Just notice what's supporting you in this moment right now. And I just want you to feel that support in your body for a second or two. And as you feel the support and you feel well supported, just slightly drop your shoulders. Just relax those shoulders slightly. And that allows us to move on to the third signal. It's called signal. Let's find one small internal signal that tells us we are safe. It's safety. Maybe the warmth of your hands. Maybe you've noticed your jaw is unclenching in this process. Maybe it's just feeling the gentle rise and fall of your chest as you are breathing comfortably in the moment. Just find that small signal. And let's create a rule. Here's the rule for trauma. When a trigger hits, we don't argue with it. We answer it with glimmers. When the trigger hits, we don't argue with it. We answer it with glimmers. We find that still support and signal, and that's how we answer. I want you to repeat after me, and I want you to say this slowly, and I want you to get your entire body to agree to what we're about to say. So you can repeat either soft in your mind or out loud, any which way you like. Let's just say, I am here. I am safe enough. I can choose. Let's repeat that one more time. I am here. I am safe enough. I can choose. And one last time, I am here. I am safe enough. I can choose. And just for a moment, wherever you sit in this state, in this moment, I want you to just imagine the next time you feel it rise, the next time you feel that overwhelm coming up, and you see in your mind's eye yourself doing the choice point reset, which we've just done. You're finding those three stable things, the three glimmers, the long exhales. You're moving back into choice, and let's seal that in. I want you to take your index finger and your thumb and just really firmly press it together. And as you press it together, I want you to lift your chest, lift your chin about a half an inch, just slightly lift your chin and drop your shoulders down. And let's say in the mind the word steady, safe enough, choice. Steady, safe enough, choice. And let's take a nice deep breath in into the belly and breathe out. One more deep breath into the belly and breathe out. And if you want to put on your camera right now, you want to share with me how you feel in this moment right now on this call, just unmute. I'm going to give it 1 minute. Is there anyone on the call that wants to share? How do you feel? I want you to notice how you feel in your body in this moment here right now before we continue and we wrap this up in the next half an hour or so. Anyone wants to share? How's it feeling in your body?
Hi, Sten.
Maybe
On my
Hi.
side, feeling calmness.
Feeling calmness. That is a telltale sign, clear sign, a clear indication that your nervous system has gone into rest and digest mode. It's gone into the parasympathetic nervous system. This is where the mind is open. This is where we can do profound coaching work. This is where all the mental tools work really well. That's what it feels like. Short process, massive change in the biology. Massive change. Okay. Anyone else wants to share before we move on? I saw a hand coming up to Melo. You're welcome to unmute, guys. I can't see everyone, so you want to share, just unmute and share. I'm going to allow you to share. Yes, Camilla. Thank you, sir. You're breaking up there a bit, sir. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me better now?
Now I can hear you. Yes, sir. Camilla, thank you for sharing. Do you want to tell us how
I
you
just wanted to say I had an immense tension on the shoulders, and it's slowly dissolving from the practice.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing. Telltale sign, guys. This is really a profound thing. It's easy to do, and to just switch that nervous system over. Okay. I want to share 2 real case studies of you, real clients. The first story is literally about Sarah, and Sarah had been literally going to therapy for years, and when she went for therapy, she knew she was stuck. She could articulate her patterns perfectly, but she could not stop the behavior. So every coach, every therapist that she worked with hit the same wall. We then used the choice point reset on her to bypass the story and regulate the nervous system. And for the first time ever, she felt safe enough to actually change. It's about finding the choice, feeling safe enough to change. And by her own words, what she told me was literally, for the first time, I felt safe enough to actually change. And that's the power that we find when we work with the nervous system first. Now, I truly believe that every coaching session and any coaching session, whether trauma specific or not, we should be getting the client in the right state. We should be in the right state. We should regulate their nervous system so that they're in the right state, because it will add to the profoundness of the coaching session. The second thing, a case study I want to share with you, was an incredible story of David. And David was a senior exec in a very well-known company, and he suffered catastrophic damage to his inner ear, causing him to lose his balance. And with losing the balance, he couldn't walk on his own. He had to use a walking ring. He literally got boarded medically, so his income fell from really good to really nothing. And he literally couldn't walk by himself. He couldn't drive his car by himself. He got medically boarded. He lost his income. He literally lost purpose in the process. So when I started working with David, and at first we want to set goals, and this guy just kept on saying, that I don't even have a purpose, man. So what's the use? I set a goal. I know I'm not going to reach it. I can't walk. I can't drive my car. I can't work. I can't earn an income. I can't have this. I can't have that. And there was a wall. It was stuck. And the trauma literally pushed him into such a deep depression that his wife then spoke to me, and she told me literally, every day when she fetches her daughter from school, she would phone home first to see if he's still alive, because she didn't want to come home with her kid and walk into David that have killed himself. He was that deep into depression as a result of a traumatic injury and a traumatic experience. And no matter how much counseling he got and medication he take, he couldn't get out of it. So I sat him down. We started using trauma protocols to release the trauma lock and to reset his nervous system on a frequent basis. And here's the marvelous wonder of what happened. I get this phone call one morning, and it's David, and he's phoning me from his doctor's rooms. And he says, Steyn, my doctor doesn't know what to say to me, but what he tells me is that my balance have returned 95%. Now, this is a guy who's lost, in his injury, has lost 85% of his balance. He started feeling better. He goes back to the doctor. He told me he's feeling better. I said, David, let's make sure. Go see your medical practitioner, dude. Go do the same evaluation. Let's see where you're at. And he phones me and he goes, man, my doctor says he doesn't know what happened, but my balance is back. I can walk without my walking frame. I can walk without a cane. And he slowly started recovering, and he started driving his own car again. And He now drives by himself. He doesn't need anyone else in the car. He can walk by himself. It has been 18 months. The man has had no episode of depression in the past 18 months. I speak to him on a regular basis to check in. He's still in a good place. Whenever that overwhelm comes up, whenever he feels that trigger, he resets the nervous system and he's automatically in a better place. These are two real clients that I've come across that have really seen some incredible results with whatever it was they were struggling with. Okay? So let's share secret number 2. And secret number 2 is really what I call an internal belief. And it's really sort of a false belief. It's the story we tell ourselves that we're not therapists. And I agree, we're not therapists. I'm not a therapist. I'm a coach. I'm not a therapist in a long way. And for that reason, I cannot coach trauma. You need to be a therapist to coach trauma. Now, that is absolutely a false internal belief. Here's the truth. Trauma-informed coaching is about nervous system regulation. It's not about therapy. You don't have to be a therapist to do trauma-informed coaching. Trauma-informed coaching is in a coaching scope. It's within your scope. It's not you sitting there as a medical practitioner diagnosing PTSD. You're not treating clinical disorders. You're not writing out prescriptions. You're helping clients to regulate the nervous system that's gone out of check so that they can make the changes that they need to make, so that the coaching methodologies you use work. This is coaching in its purest form. And it's some of the most important coaching work we can ever do is when we do the client this courtesy. When they can say to themselves, I'm regulated, I'm present, and as a coach, I look at it and I go, I'm regulated, I'm present, I'm a resourceful coach who can hold space for the hard stuff. I just love that affirmation. It's one of my daily affirmations, and I'm going to just repeat it so you can maybe make a note of it. I am regulated and present, resourced coach who can hold space for the hard stuff. Now, if you ever run into someone that has worked with me, they will tell you one of the things I'm really, really good at, it's holding space for the hard stuff. Because this is how my belief system works. We've learned the right skill, we can regulate that nervous system, and we give choice back to the client. We allow them to overcome what's holding them back and what they're struggling with. And here's the principle that really makes this work. You can't guide what you haven't felt. One of the things I truly believe in is you can't give what you don't have. So if your own energy is not good, you can't give because there's nothing if your cup is empty, you can't give from an empty cup. So being a regulated coach yourself, being able to regulate your own state, your own nervous system, just to be able to do that is profound because now you know exactly what it feels like in your body. The whole reason why I shared the Choice Point Reset with you tonight, I wanted you to experience it and feel it in your own body. That's what it feels like. And this is the moment where your presence, your confidence, your presence, when your nervous system is regulated, just your presence becomes the medicine. Your regulation becomes the foundation. And you can't take your client somewhere you haven't been yourself. This is the embodiment of a coach principle. Is me having such a deep understanding that when I'm starting to speak to people about how they experience things, it resonates with them. It's as if they're saying it to themselves. That takes a real deep understanding. So when I learn how to regulate my own nervous system and I know how it feels in my own body, it picks up my confidence and it brings presence to the table. And it's that presence that becomes the medicine. It's the regulation that becomes the foundation that set up the client for profound work, that opens them up for mind work and for the psychology part of it. We've taken care of the biology. And once you've taken care of the biology, the other techniques work. Okay? And Secret 3 is really about an external belief. And here's the false belief. I'll learn this later. The reality with I'll learn this later is really every week, clients are choosing coaches who already have the skill. So you always have a choice. And I really believe in life, we always have a choice. And I have some people have this external belief that, yeah, this is cool, but I'll learn it later. I'll get the skill. I'll get there one day. Between here and one day, there are people that need help. And those people are looking for people who have the skill now. Every day, every week, every month. So the longer you delay to learn the necessary skill to help people, literally money leaves your practice. And not because you're not good enough. Not because you don't have the specific skill set. It's because the market is shifting. I've spoken to so many people in the last couple of months. This is what moved me to do a certification program for trauma-informed coaching. As I had people from corporates in HR phoning me up, saying, we run into trauma all the time. These people come to work. They've gone through a traumatic experience. We do not know what to do with it. It happens every day. The market is shifting. Clients are asking for trauma-informed approaches. People are learning. We're in a day and age of information flow that's overstated. How do you stand out in a crowd? What makes you stand out? How do you position yourself so that you are the obvious choice? When I become skilled enough to really help people get real results, to really help them in a profound way, this is how I stand out. This is what brings people to my practice as a coach. This is the market reality, guys. Clients are seeking specialists. There's a tremendous amount of generalists out there. Clients are seeking specialists. They're asking for trauma specialists, trauma-informed coaches. They want to know you can handle the hard stuff. They want to know you can hold space for the hard stuff. And if you can't confidently say yes, you're moving on to someone who can. They don't stop buying. They just go and buy somewhere else. This isn't about fear. It's about recognizing where the profession is going and getting ahead of the curve. Trauma-informed coaching is no longer just a niche. It's becoming a standard. We live in a day and age where trauma is rife, where it happens all the time. There are so many incidents. I think in my training program, I'm literally going to deal with 10, and I've selected the top 10 things that cause trauma in order to help you understand how to deal with each one of those 10 things. But there's most certainly not only 10 things that cause trauma. It rocks up in every coaching practice, in every work environment, on a regular basis. It is in existence in a big way. So trauma-informed coaching is no longer just a niche. It's really setting a standard. It's stepping up. It's getting to a different place altogether as a coach. So let's talk about what I call opportunity cost. Here's the question. How many potential clients have you turned away because you didn't feel equipped to handle their trauma? How many of them have you referred to someone else because in that moment you didn't feel you had the tools to deal with it? You might have tried normal coaching techniques and you didn't get results, and then you started querying yourself, questioning yourself. How many of your current clients are still stuck because you don't have the tools? How much of that makes income walk out of your door? How much money is left on the table? How well are you positioning yourself as a generalist instead of a specialist? Now, these are not necessarily rhetorical questions. This is a real impact we're talking about, real transformation. And real transformation, it's simply not happening because of a skill gap. A small little gap that we haven't paid attention to before. And this is really what we focus on is, how do I fill that gap? Here's what I'm going to offer. I've set up a 2-day intensive training program. And if I say intensive, we're going to start like 9 or 9 o'clock in the morning. We're going to go right through to 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and we're going to cover the very foundations of nervous system science. I'm going to show you in detail, how did I even arrive at the choice point reset? Why is it working? We're going to do somatic tracking. How does it live in the body? We're going to look at the protocol of pendulation, parts work, breath work, bilateral stimulation. We're going to look at how to practice this in an ethical and correct manner, in a structured manner. And what we're going to leave you with after 2 days is a certified coach that can help people overcome their trauma. Ready for implementation with all the tools at hand. This is a 6-month program. It's not a 12-month program. We have packed a tremendous amount of stuff into 2 days. In 2 days, I'm going to share with you, for anyone that's on this call that has worked with me previously, have trained with me previously, you would know I give everything. There's no holding back. We're going to dive deep. We're going to let you experience the techniques. I want you to walk out in 2 days and be able to help someone the very next day that comes into your practice, that comes into your business, into your work environment, and they are suffering from trauma. And in that moment, you have the tools in hand to help them. That's what I want you to get. The critical part of this is not entirely lecture-based. There's going to be a lot of practice in real time. There's going to be feedback. We're going to help you understand and get somatic knowledge. How does it live in the body? How do we release it in the body? It's not just an intellectual understanding. We're going to use the methodologies that elite coaches use and are trained in. This is a masterclass, guys. This is not a startup thing. This is a masterclass. We don't just learn about regulation. We're going to let you experience regulation, embody it, so that you can guide your client through it with confidence and authority. I want you to walk out in 2 days with me and have authority, have confidence, be skilled in practicing the techniques, and make sure that we help the people who need help. This is why we're here. We're not here for any other reason. We're going to close the process off with a certification so that you receive professional credentials. You can list it on your website and say, I'm certified trauma-informed coach, and you can include it in your bio and every other place in social media you like. And more importantly, you can confidently say, yes, I'm a trauma-informed coach and I can help clients bridge the trauma gap. It'll make you stand out in your marketplace and differentiate you between the generalities and the specialist. It justifies premium fees. And it really attracts people that are looking for what you offer, instead of you having to go and kick them out behind every bush. The second thing you'll get is lifetime access to a private community with ongoing support. We wanted to make sure that you are properly set up, that you can rub shoulders with people who really know how to deal with this subject, in a community of people who are like-minded and who care about the results they get for their clients. We have realized we're not the hero in the story. It's not about me. It's not about my business. It's about what results I can get for my client. It's about, here's the question: what is it worth for a man that cannot get up in the morning and go and do his job and earn his income because he's gone through a hijacking and cannot come to terms with that near-death experience, when that trauma sits in the body and it paralyzes him? What is it worth to that man when he finds someone like you that brings him to the better side of things, where he can become functional again? What is it worth? Now, I bet if I have to ask this question of people, they would go priceless, because I don't believe you can put money on top of that. Trauma is a debilitating state. It's a debilitating state. If you've never suffered trauma yourself, you speak to people who have suffered from trauma, you will realize it's a debilitating state. What is it worth to that person if he finds a kind person that helps him through that journey, that has the necessary knowledge and skill to be able to do that in a profound way? So let's talk about the value. Let's talk about, if you were to learn the protocols through private coaching. I've gone down this route, and I've had this mindset and still have it, and had it for many years, to learn only from the best in the world. And to give you an idea, to learn from private coaching, one-on-one coaching from really skilled people the way I have, the starting point is 150,000 Rand. This is the amount of money I have invested personally multiple times in my 30-year journey to acquire the knowledge that I have. I remember paying 10,000 US dollars. What is that? 180,000 Rand, just to learn one skill, so that I'm more capable of helping a client than the next guy. Okay. The second option is you can try and figure this out yourself. I can tell you through experience, it takes a long time. It takes a lot of trial and error. It's debilitating in its own right many times. And it takes tens and thousands of rands. Apart from the revenue you're losing because you're focusing on the learning, it takes tens and thousands of rands. I believe the certification in the right place in this market, the certification for what you will get is a 14,000 plus Rand package. I'm privileged to work in the offshore market. This is a $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 package. This is the value of it. I want to make this accessible to people, because one of the things I don't believe in is chasing money. One of my coaches told me many years ago, he was a great guy by the name of Zig Ziglar, and he said, Steyn, never chase the money. It runs too fast, you can't catch it. Chase people, help people. The money will follow. So I wanted to make sure that this is accessible to everyone. So we're going to dot it down for this webinar. The investment for this 2-day intensive is 4,997. It's only for this intensive. Past this intensive, we're going to go back doing what we normally do. I am most certainly not the cheapest guy on the block. And for anyone who's previously worked with me, you know that. I understand the value of these things. I have invested millions of rands in my own education, literally. So 4,997 I felt was a really good spot. If 4,997 is a stretch, I want to make it really, really accessible. We can break that up for you into 2 or 3 pieces, so it makes it more palatable for you. Speak to us so we can help you get there. Our intention is to equip people to help people. My passion in life, my purpose, and the thing I do every day, I set out to change the life for one person. Really my purpose. I want to make sure that we get enough people that can change the lives for enough people out there. So whether you're doing this for your own personal growth, for your own trauma to overcome it, or whether you're doing this because you're a coach and you want to help people, there's nowhere in the world, not in South Africa or anyone offshore, where you'll be getting the information and the toolkit and the things that we're going to give you in a 2-day intensive for 4,997. It's just simply not available. Done the market research, I've checked it out, I've seen what people charge for these things, and I want to make it accessible. We're going to include a couple of bonuses on it to make sure that you get proper value. One of the things we're going to get you is my somatic toolkit. It's a set of somatic cards that gives you some somatic exercises that help with reset. And we're going to teach you in the training program how to use and work that. We're going to give you a coach's toolkit with everything you need to be able to help your client, handouts, the whole 9 yards. I think there's 20 plus tools in that toolkit. You're going to get lifetime access to the videos. When we do the training, we record it, and we'll make the video available, and you have lifetime access on our community. You get access to my private community. You get access to me for one-on-one. So one of the things that you have a benefit with when you train with me is one-on-one access with me personally. We're going to schedule, if you need one-on-one help, you schedule with me. There's no cost involved in that. That alone, a one-on-one session with me in my practice is a 4,500 to 5,000 Rand exercise for an hour session, guys. So that alone is worth the investment. Just that one-on-one session normally would cost you 4,500 to 5,000 Rand. Okay, we're going to just chuck all of that in for you. And make sure that you are properly equipped. You have every tool that you need. You have the real knowledge about how to regulate nervous systems, and you can help people really overcome the challenges they have when it comes to trauma. Okay? It's literally the whole 9 yards. I wanted to make sure that we leave nothing on the sideline. So the investment is literally only $4,997. The first 2 clients you put on your books will recover your investment. Anyone that's in business will know that that is most probably one of the fastest ways to recover an investment. 2 clients, 3 clients, 1 corporate client will recover your investment. If you need a payment plan, we'll break it up into 2 or 3 pieces. You're going to have to engage with us, or engage in my office so we can set it up for you. And we want to make sure that it's affordable for everyone. Okay? And here's the question in my mind. It's really not about, can I afford it? It's literally about, what does it mean to not have the skill? What does it mean if every week your wait is another week lost, another client lost, another part of your income lost? But most profoundly, more important than all of that, what is it? It's about the loss of impact with someone who really needs help. That debilitating thing called trauma that really crushed their soul. That is the biggest thing for me. So not doing it, not helping people, that's what we do to them. So this is more a strategic business decision than that will transform your practice than what it's anything else. But you have choices like anything. And I'm going to literally be so confident to say, if you join me on this program, and in the first half of the program in the morning, you decide, this is not for me. We're going to take the risk out of it. I'll refund you your money and we call it a day. I don't want you to feel pushed or into any corner. It's not about pushing you into a corner. I want to remove all the risk and make sure that you can come into this totally risk-free. Okay? Because you stayed until the end, I appreciate you. And I want to show that appreciation. So what I'm going to make available is I'm going to gift each and every one of you with a 90-second nervous system regulation tool. So my office, you join the webinar, we have your email address. My office is going to pop onto your email a 90-second nervous system regulation tool that you can start using tomorrow morning for yourself, for your client, for that person you want to help. It's totally downloadable. It's got a guide, PDF they can use to shift state instantly, anytime, anywhere. So check your email box. We'll drop that to you in the morning as a special gift from us, just because you came and you stayed until the end. Okay? Just for that, I want to acknowledge you. So here's the 2 roads you have a choice for. There are 2 roads and 2 paths in front of us. Path 1 is keep doing what you're doing. There's no force here. I'm not going to convince you. I'm not going to keep on going for a half an hour why you should be investing in this program. It's entirely your choice. You can choose to do nothing, stay exactly where you are, do what you're doing, and going down that path. Find that clients that is resistant, that can't have a breakthrough, and keep on wondering why your techniques are not working. You can keep going at generalist rates and do exactly what you're currently doing. No one has ever said you're doing the wrong thing. I'm not going to push you. Okay? Path 2 is to master regulation. Become an elite trauma-informed specialist. Charge better fees. Build a thriving practice. Change lives at the deepest possible level. Which path you choose is entirely up to you. You decide. There's no more push from my side. You decide what path you choose. And if you choose to work with us, it'll make us really, really happy. We're going to make sure that you get everything. I'm sure my office is going to drop a link in the chat box that you can click on. If I can't see the chat box at this moment in time, let me see if I can somehow see the chat box and see what's happening there. It's an international certification. I see Celeste has mentioned. Yes, it's an international certification. We make sure that it's done properly. At the end of the day, we'll drop a link in that chat box. I'm sure Celeste will drop a link where you can book your seat. Seats are limited. We've got a program running 21-22 February. There's only a couple of seats open on that one. We've got another one running at, I think, 21-22 March because it's filling up fast. I'm going to allow only 20 people in the program. Otherwise, there's no me giving the personal attention that I wanted to give. I promised you one-on-one sessions. I promised you a stack of things. I intend to keep those promises. So I'm limiting the number of seats, guys. So if this is for you, if it's a fit for you, book your seat. Let's make sure that you're properly skilled so that you can catch that part of the market which really typically untouched in not only in South Africa, literally across the world. Trauma is one of the biggest things of our time. Literally. It's one of the biggest things of our time. So pick your seat. Chat to us if you need to chat to us. If you're not certain, you want a one-on-one call, please schedule a call with me. I'll be happy to jump on a call with you to figure out if this is a fit for you. If it's a fit, we move forward. If it's not a fit, we don't have to move forward. It's really, really entirely up to you.